Welcome to BunniPhish Crafts. I'm your host Heather, known as BunniPhish on Ravelry, Instagram, YouTube, and Patreon. Today is Friday the 7th of June, 2019. This is episode 42. Grab some sticks and string and come sit with me. As you can see, we are not in my living room. It is a beautiful day to be at the park. I know the sun is kind of shining right into the camera. I hope we can all live with that. It should be out of the camera, in a few minutes. So we're at the park and we're not on my normal stone bench because there were people gardening in that area this morning. So instead we are next to the pond, and I don't know what was going on, if fish were fighting for territory or mating or something, but there was a ton of splashing right before I hit record, and it was definitely all fish. I totally stood up and I was like, what's going on? Because I'm irrationally afraid of bodies of water. And I was like, well, if it's a gator, I need to know right now. Of course it's not. So it's just fish, but there might be a lot of splashing and other ambient sounds. So let's get into knitting, shall we? Yes, yes we shall. Actually, let's talk about life for just a second. Oh no, they're mowing the lawn over there. I thought they were done mowing the lawn. Hopefully it's not too distracting, and if it is, I will record this podcast again at a later date, although I don't know when that will be because we're going into the weekend and weekends are busy. Okay, anyway, so life is going really well. Next week is the last week of school, so it's all sorts of fun things going on. There is the family fun night tonight, which they bring in bouncy houses, they have a photo booth, face painting, all of that is free, and then you can buy concessions. Last year they had a dunk tank. I don't know if they're doing it again this year or not. And then during the school day today, they're having a school-wide picnic. So I'm actually going into work an hour early to help set up with that. So I have a limited time frame to record, but I don't have too much to talk about, so it should be fine. Finished objects first. I finished the socks that are just 60 stitches cast on 2x2 rib all the way down, and then 56 stitches on the feet. So second sock is done. It's this one looks smaller than this one because this one has been blocked and this one hasn't. So if you're looking at it and you're like, I see the stripes match up, but they're not the same size, they are the same size. Those were knit on US size 1 2.25 millimeter needles, but they're bamboo, so they knit up at more of a 0 gauge for me, or like my 0 carbons knit up. I also finished the second Scraposaurus sock. So again, this one's blocked, this one isn't. That's why the ribbing looks different, even though it's exactly the same. And I just have to block it and put it away for Christmas, and it will be good. I really, really, really like this pattern. I know it's my own pattern, Scraposaurus socks, but I really, really enjoy it. So much so that I knit a shorty pair of Scraposaurus socks. I took the striping sequence from the Scraposaurus socks, and I used my formula from making the Rose City Rollers a toe-up pattern for myself, and I made this beautiful, my hair gets everywhere, this beautiful rainbow sock using the leftovers from Cattails yarns. So I love it. So red aja, brown aja, yellow, white, green, blue, gray. It's the Sphinx base, which is, I want to say 75-25 merino nylon. So I finished those. They took like 2 days. I really, really, really like the the colorways in this yarn. And as you can tell, I made it through the whole rainbow in a much shorter sock than the socks that I showed last week. So in the pattern, there's a part where you knit a big chunk of each color. I just cut those rows in half. So that row count, I cut that in half. So it just makes much shorter little color blocks, but I think they're so cute. Super cute. That I'm definitely making more Scraposaurus socks over the summer. Definitely doing that. So then on to works in progress. I told you it's going to be a short week. It is what it is. You know what? I finished one other thing. I don't have it here. It is a spinning project that my sister found some fiber at Knit Group on Wednesday, and it was pencil roving. I'll put the information on the bottom of the screen. I don't have the bag with me, and I don't have the fiber with me because she got it and she was like, here, can you spin this and make me something? And I was like, how about I spin it and you make you something? Because she's never used hand spun before. And you guys know how I feel about hand spun. Most of the time when I spin, like the spinning is the finished project and I don't really use my hand spun that much. So she said, okay. And we got to the parent pickup line, and I didn't really want to work on any of the knitting that I had brought because I really wanted to start that spin. She didn't even want me to draft out the pencil roving because she likes working with bulky yarns, and so it was really just adding twist to this roving. So it's like, this could be a quick finish. I could do this. So I made myself a Turkish spindle using 5 pencils because we had pencils in the car. And my second spindle ever was a Turkish spindle that I made out of some chopsticks. They're really, really easy to assemble if you want to just have a Turkish spindle but you can't or don't want to purchase a Turkish spindle right now. So yeah, I made myself a Turkish spindle and I started spinning it, and then picked up the kids, went home, continued, and this is why people think there are sea monsters. This looks so bizarre, especially in the area where there's a bunch of pond grass. Anyway, I took it home. I finished it in a couple hours. It is 162 yards. Now that I'm saying it, I'm not sure. I'll put that at the bottom of the screen also. And yeah, it was just a really quick spin. I left it as a single. It's a bulky. It was 8 ounces. And it was just a really fast spin. And I don't have it because I spun it. I let it rest until right before bedtime on the spindle, and then I wound it off onto my knitting knotty, let that rest overnight, put it in water to soak when I got up in the morning, got ready for school, got the kids ready for school, and let it hang for a couple hours outside. And then when I went to work, I took it into my car and put it on my dash, and it dried out there. So yesterday afternoon, we wound it into a ball for her to use. So when she makes something with that, I will try to remember to put that here in the podcast, but I might forget. But it was a really quick win, and it was just a lot of fun to have something so quick off the spindle. And then because I worked on that, I allowed myself to work a little bit on my sweater spin. So that was a lot of fun. And then for knitting works in progress, I put in, I don't know, a handful. I put in from here to here. I remember last week I had just done 2 rounds in the lace, so this is what it looks like. Sorry. Um, you can see the lace. This is Patamus? Pamatamus? I looked up the pronunciation so I would be able to say it, and now that I'm put on the spot, I can't say it. It's a type of fish, so that makes sense because it has scales. It's a free pattern on Knitty, but you can buy the pattern and it will give you different sizes. Last week I was talking about it's a 72 stitch pattern on Knitty and how I was worried that it wasn't going to fit my sister, and she doesn't care because slouchy socks are fine. So maybe if you bought the pattern, it would have different sizes and you wouldn't have to figure out what to do like I'm going to do for the foot, but it doesn't bother me to figure it out. The yarn is Dream in Color, the BFL sock. I don't know the colorway yet. I will let you know when I get closer to finishing this sock, but I am just past halfway through the first repeat, and you do 3 repeats on the leg. So it'll take me a while before I know what the colorway is, because I don't want to pull the yarn out from the center of the ball because then I will lose it. And then the last work in progress I have is another sock. It totally looks like a sock, correct? Correct. So this is the Carousel sock by, I want to say, Louise Roberts. It will definitely be linked below. This is also a free knitting pattern. This pattern was designed to play with self-striping yarn. So this is self-striping yarn, but you knit back and forth across 12 stitches all the way around. So it's just a different construction for a sock. It is much less elastic than a normal construction for knitting. I didn't read the pattern all the way through before I started. So this is supposed to be a cuff down pattern. I totally knit mine going toe up instead. I don't think it really matters, except that a helpful hint is, since it doesn't have a lot of stretch, when you do the part that's going on your leg, you need to definitely make sure that it's going to go around the triangle. What is that? Instep area? Does that sound right? That sounds right. It might be wrong. So the instep. You can see that this loop right here sticks out much further than this portion right here. I think I added an extra ½ inch, maybe, yeah, ½ inch sounds right, maybe an inch, to this strip before I reattached it. This is where the heel is going to go, and I just know that I have a really high instep. So I tried it on to make sure it would fit over, and I think it will. I hope it will. If not, it's fine. It was an experiment. I've had these socks in my queue for a really long time. I want to say since 2012, but I was intimidated by them. I don't know why I was intimidated by them. It's just knits and purls and a joining stitch, so it's not difficult at all. And yeah, this is the first sock. The yarn is 716 knit, 716 sock. It's a self-striping, and the colorway is inappropriate for small ears. So I will give it a couple seconds if you need your children to turn away, and I am going to put it at the bottom of the screen right now. I love this colorway. I have loved this colorway for a really, really long time. It's thick-ish stripes of black and this green, purple, and aqua speckling on top of a gray base. It's really, really pretty, but you guys know I love Jenna's yarn. So I think that now that I have all of those other socks off the needles, I'm for sure not casting anything on for the next 3 days, because the ZK knit along ends on the 10th, so I'm going to be going gangbusters on this. I think I can finish the first sock before the knit along ends. It doesn't take me very long to make these strips if I actually work on it. I just haven't actually been working on it. But I have a whole day at the soccer field tomorrow. Yay! And I'll be taking this with me to work to do when I'm doing the walking around portion versus the prepping portion for the picnic. I'm really excited for the picnic. It's the first. It's just for kids. It's not for families officially. But if families show up, they're not going to turn them away. But I'm excited to see how it goes. I am also not going to be upset if I have to stay a little later than my shift usually ends to help clean up because it's the first time they're doing it, and first years are always tricky. I don't think that I've worked on my Zany Craft spin at all this week. It's been sitting in my car for if I want to bring it to walk, but I think I'd rather knit on this while I'm walking than work on that because I don't know. I'm fairly confident that I can finish this sock in the next 3 days. I definitely can't finish the Zany Craft spin in that time. So that's my thoughts on that. Did I have any other works in progress? Oh, did I finish? I don't think that, no, I didn't. I also have one more finished object, and it is the Christmas tree skirt, the crimson tree skirt, which I worked out of bulky yarn, and I have already put it with my Christmas things. I finished it, I took a photo, I put it right away so that it wouldn't be sitting around making a mess because it's ginormous. So they're really close to the bank. Okay, I have no idea what they're doing, but you'll be able to see what I'm seeing right now. I'll put this video in. What are they doing? Are they mating? Are they fighting? Does anybody know? Let me know in the comments below. Last, a little book update. I'm reading I think it's called Sparrow Hill Road. It's the first book. Do you guys remember when I read The Girl in the Green Silk Gown? So it is the first book of that series. Girl in the Green Silk Gown is the second book in the series. So I picked that up from the library and I've been reading through it. It is quite enjoyable, and I've already recommended it to my sister, who has asked if she could borrow the library book, and she's already offered to pay the replacement fee for the book because there's a 50-50 chance that if she borrows it, she'll destroy it. But it's a really, really good book. I super recommend that series if you like urban fantasy sort of things. And the lore in the story is really, really cool. So really, really enjoying that. And I've also been playing a fair bit of Pokemon Go this week because it has been lovely for walking. I walked at the park twice this week instead of just once, 3 times. I was definitely here yesterday. I feel like I was probably here earlier this week too. I was here with my sister and kids, for sure. I don't remember if there was another morning that I walked. But I'm really, really enjoying the Pokemon going and the ability to be outside and not freeze. I'm not looking forward to when it gets super hot this summer, but right now it's gorgeous out. So let me know in the comments what you've been doing, if you have awesome weather today or if you're stuck inside. Whenever you see this, even if it's, in the middle of winter, in the middle of December, or not December, December's not the middle of winter, like middle of January in the northern hemisphere and you're stuck with snow, let me know. And I hope that you have been able to hear me, and I hope you've enjoyed being outside with me today. I'll talk to you later. Bye.